Hey everyone, welcome to the Leader's Edge. I'm your host, Steve Steele, where we dive into insights and principles that will supercharge your leadership and ignite your personal growth. Now, whether you're a budding entrepreneur, a leader navigating change, or a seasoned pro, this show is for you. Each episode is packed with practical strategies designed to elevate your mindset and amplify your leadership impact. Get ready for actionable tips that you can put into practice immediately. And a huge shout out to all of our amazing listeners. Thank you so much for your unwavering support. So let's get started and unlock your true potential. My guest today is an entrepreneur, author, builder, and a student of human performance who has founded 4 companies and helped hundreds of others take their first step into entrepreneurship. A former college baseball player, he developed a deep appreciation for discipline, teamwork, and resilience, values he now applies to business, health, and life. He's especially passionate about longevity, optimizing performance, and uncovering the habits and wisdom that lead to a truly fulfilling life. Welcome from the green room, my friend Joel Puthoff. Hey, Joel. Good
What's
to see
up?
you, brother. How you doing?
How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing good. I hear you're in Colorado.
Yeah, we're out in Colorado today. Yep,
That's
for a couple days.
Awesome. That is awesome. I'm so glad you joined the show today, Joel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're going to talk about quite a few things today. We may be bouncing around a little bit, but I just want to have a conversation, Joel, where we're just talking about different things when we did a discovery call. We talked about a lot of different things. I also want to talk a little bit about your program Linksy that you have toward the end of the show, because I know you developed that and how that can help leaders. But Joel, I know that by reading your bio that you've had a lot of experience in health and longevity and really building your body and helping your body really create a place where, basically you can live longer in life. And I really, really love that. But what I want to do first, let's get into a little bit in your story, Joel. Where did you come from? How did this all happen? And who is Joel? And tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, thanks for the intro, Steve. I've enjoyed watching some of your episodes and the dialogue that you're having here with so many great leaders and insightful people, and it's an honor to be here with you today. So thanks a lot.
Well, I think Dr. Bryn Dombrowski is the one who introduced us, right?
Yeah, in neuroscience, and we really connected on the mind and neuroscience, me and Dr. Bryn, and she said, hold on, you need to meet Steve, and you guys need to connect, and then me and you took it to a whole nother level. We got into light energy, and
it was really good. And I want to talk a little bit about that today. A little bit about that the neuroscience piece, because I know you have a lot to say about that, and it's a lot of interesting thing. But tell us a little bit about who Joel is.
Yeah. I grew up in Ohio. I grew up in a very Christian family, a strong Christian family. And, I grew up with those values. And I think, when I look back at my childhood, I'm one of 8 kids. I grew up with so much love. I grew up with discipline. I grew up with hard work ethic. I didn't really have a business dad, but I had a dad that taught me hard work and discipline, and a mom and a family that showed so much love. And I feel like, looking back at my life, like I was so blessed with that. There was so many amazing things that I got from those Christian values and that Christian upbringing. But as you can imagine, with 7 siblings, it was very competitive, and it was, we played sports and we gamed all the time. And, sports is probably really where I started to cut my teeth in leadership the most. Being an athlete of basketball and football and baseball, and just really being a lifelong athlete. I feel like that's really where I started to develop some of my core capabilities, which is, leadership and team building and working with others and communication. But I wasn't really much into school. It was, school was school, and I was always an athlete, and I went to college to play baseball. And while I was there, I had to get a degree, and I was good at math. So I kind of started, in math a little bit. And I was like, what am I doing with this? And I kind of switched over to the business school my sophomore year, and I got introduced to this entrepreneur development program, young entrepreneurs across America, or student painters. And it was like, learn how to run your own business, be your own boss. And I was like, wait, I can be my own boss? That sounds pretty cool. And so at a young age, I took a leap of faith and bet on myself. And I went into this program, and as a sophomore in college, I was a baseball player, but I learned how to run my first business through a little bit of guidance, and that work ethic and discipline really, treated me well there, because I put all that effort into my business, and through all the failures and not really knowing what I was doing, running a business and how to execute through the process of doing, compared to just sitting in a classroom. That's really where I cut my teeth in business that first year at 19, 20 years old as a college student.
What was your business, Joe? What did you do? What was it? A retail business, or what kind of business was it? Online business?
Yeah, Young Entrepreneurs Across America. It's kind of like this development program, and the majority of the businesses that students run is a house painting business called Student Painters. So you go out there, and before you even know how to paint a house, you go you market a house painting business, and homeowners are like, "Oh, you want to paint my house?" And so I was slinging exterior house painting.
Wow.
And then I sold like 30,000 worth of house painting jobs. And then the program is like, all right, now you got to go find college students to paint these houses for you. Mm-hmm. And so it taught all these little, different departments of business. It taught marketing, it taught communication, it taught sales, it taught team building, it taught management, leadership. And then you go out there. And so a lot of the process, I mean, they slightly guide you, they slightly hold your hand, but then it's like they throw you into the wild, and you just learn by doing it. And that first summer of running a business after my sophomore year, I ran a $55,000 business. I profited $12,000, and it just changed how I thought about work. And prior to that, I had a little bit of a lawn care business, a little bit of an entrepreneur spirit through selling baseball cards, but I can't really say I had the skill sets yet to in the business world. I was working in a warehouse. I had a bunch of random jobs growing up, but that summer really opened my mind to, holy cow, if you go out there and build a business, you can get employees, you can, create jobs for other people. And then you just got to learn how to, lead people effectively, and how do you manage. And, I took all what I was learning in sports. I kind of had a somewhat of a natural leadership capability from, maybe, having the values of Christianity young, and, playing sports with other people, and generating, leadership throughout sports. But then through this business, it was really like starting to, put that into action within business. And I came back my second year as a junior, and I ran like a twice as big business, made a lot more money. And I was like, wow, I think I know what I want to be. I want to be an entrepreneur. This is like so fun. And so I got into the training program with this company my senior year, and I trained a couple people, even one of which was my brother, how to run his own small business, and a couple other college students. And so I went through this training program to develop young entrepreneurs that were in college. And then after I graduated, I got a couple different job offers in sales, and the owner of the company, I did really well in this program, Young Entrepreneurs Across America, and they gave me an opportunity to move to the Carolinas. And I was like, wait, I can get out of Ohio? Yes.
Okay.
I moved to the Carolinas and built a new division for the organization, and spent my next 7.5 years working with 12 universities in the Southeast, training hundreds of college students how to build their own business and learn marketing and sales and management and leadership. And so I kind of ultimately took that path because I learned, as being a mentor and a coach, you have to learn it at a higher level. It's one thing to do it, but if you have to coach it, you really have to start to understand all different types of humans and human nature and human behavior. You can't just know yourself. You got to know other people, and you got to know how to motivate other leaders. And so, being like a leadership trainer really opened my eyes to the full spectrum of what leadership looked like for different types of people. And those 7 years just really opened my eyes to entrepreneurship and helping other people go from not knowing how to run a business, but having the audacity to choose difficult things, and then opening their eyes to, the difficulties and the challenges of failing forward every day to be able to build something that, develops real skills compared to just learning concepts.
Well, Joel, we have a lot of entrepreneurs who listen to our show, and I really believe entrepreneurship is probably one of the most difficult. I think one of the most difficult things to actually do, because you're actually on your own at first, and you have to build this business, right? So Joel, can you tell me, even in your college years, what type of adversity did you have to overcome everything, almost anything comes with adversity at some level or setback. Can you tell us any kind of adversity or setback that you had and how you moved past that and how you moved toward that?
Yeah. I actually think like the challenge and the failure and the adversity you face, the resilient muscle that you have to develop, is like the number one thing
it is
that people can develop, because what that develops for people is confidence. And right now, especially in our world, like so many people wish they had confidence, and that's you develop self-esteem and self-love through all that. So that question, I can look back to that first year. I had so many challenges. Like I sold 2 of my first 30 jobs, and it looked like I was going to fail, and many people might give up there. And I kept going, and they're like, stay in the game, stay in the gauntlet, keep going, go up tomorrow and get better. And I did, and I slowly sold more jobs, and then I gained a little bit of confidence. And over that period of like running that business and failing every day and getting paint all over customers' flowers and on sidewalks, and having to solve problems every day, and then having employees not show up to work, and being like, customers are like, you got to get this job done, and you got to problem solve, and you got to face that adversity, and you can't just crawl in a shell and go home. You got to figure it out, because you got a business that, there's no other option. It's like the employee mindset compared to the employer mindset is just so much different. And the employee can just dip out and do whatever and find something else. The employer, you've got so much invested, and you've got to find a way to, get through the problems that you're facing literally every day. And then you fail. And it's not always like it's not always like the failure is so obvious. Sometimes the failure is like, I haven't sold a job in a week, or I haven't sold a job in a couple weeks. And you got to look at yourself and say, what am I doing that I'm not closing these jobs? And those are, in a way, kind of failures. Or you knock on a customer, you knock on 20 doors, like, hey, you want your house painted? And they're like, get off my porch. And you're like, all right, I'm still going to go to the next house, and I'm going to see if the neighbor wants their house painted.
So you actually went door to door.
I did. I did cold calling, and then I trained cold calling for many years.
Wow.
And what a skill. And what an audacious muscle you have to develop to have the audacity to knock on people's door and solicit.
That's difficult. And especially when that you not only that, but Joe, you had to have time. I mean, once you sold those jobs, you had to have the time to actually do the work to get the work done. And then, like you said, you'd hire some college students to come in and help you do it. And oh my gosh, today they didn't show up. And what do you do? How do you get the work done? There's a lot of things there, Joel. What kind of skill did you develop, or mindset maybe you developed, to help you move through that process, especially at a young age? Because I think when we're young, we don't really know all those kind of things. We learn them as we go on, and you're learning in the process. But was there anything that was particularly helpful for you as a tool that you used to help you move through that?
Yes, a little bit back to the fail forward. You're only failing because you're not good enough today. And how do I get better tomorrow? And thinking about how do I get better every day and somewhat evolve, that word for some people is like, develop skills or evolve yourself and evolve your capabilities. But, I think, through that process of mindset, I think that's what I've become so passionate about in my life, is developing mental frameworks, because I look back at school, public school, state school. Maybe I wasn't as good enough student. Maybe there was benefits to that, because they didn't train gut health. They didn't train mental frameworks, mindset. They didn't train entrepreneurship. They didn't train taxes. They didn't train necessarily finance. Some of the core competencies I think great business owners need. And maybe there's a reason they didn't train that. They don't want a country of entrepreneurs. They want maybe a country of workers. And so I think you got to find, I think through the process, what I did find in this program. And then now that I have in my tech company today, Linksy, I have 4 advisors on my team. I've got 2 tech advisors. I've got 2 great entrepreneurs that have built tech companies. I've got an investment advisor. Surround yourself with great people, and they can help you solve these problems when you need a little bit of help. And there's a process to finding the great advisors. It took me a year and a half to find some of these advisors for this specific company. But mindset is everything, and I'm so passionate about mindset. It's I wrote a book in it, Capability Fuel,
Right.
and it's like it's part mindset, it's part gut health, human optimization, but mindset is everything. How today, I think, propaganda news, likes to infuse maybe victim mindset. And I see so many people suffering from that. Oh, woe is me, woe is me. And it's easy to look at yourself when you're going through difficult times, or you haven't had a great week or a great month or a great year and things aren't going your way. And if you live in a state of woe is me or victim mindset, that's where you're going to live, and that's going to create your reality. But if you live in a state of abundance and I can do this and I can solve this for myself, and you find that, confidence within that, you just have to put in the hard work and develop yourself forward. I think that's the ultimate thing that can serve a human. And that's what I got really passionate. I have a chapter in my book about mental states, and there's, different mental states you can access. And then mental frameworks is a little bit different. Is how do you frame in the challenges that come into your life? Are you like, oh, give me this challenge? Or are you like, why do I always have to deal with the challenge? So it's when challenges and difficult things come to you, how do you handle that? Is that woe is me, or is that give me all the challenge you can give me?
Absolutely. And I want to get into some of that a little bit later, because that is so important. And I even find that challenging in my life. I mean, I face those things every day. I think we all do. We find it, and to learn to have that type of mindset is something that is something that you acquire, but if you don't understand how your mind really works and how it's hard to really get to a place where you can really make that switch, because we sometimes you wake up and your mindset is not as I guess you're more in a negative type mindset versus maybe a positive mindset because of just things that happen in your life. So I want to talk a little bit about that, because I have my own ideas behind that as well. And so we'll challenge about that. But so you were in college, you had this painting business, and where did it go from there? Did you go through college with it and take it beyond college, or what happened?
Yeah, I ran that business for 2 years, but it was more of like a summer business, and you worked a little bit in the spring to develop your clientele. And so I ran a business, essentially a house painting business, for 2 summers and a little bit of the springs, and played baseball for the 4 years. And so my coach hated me because he's like, man, you're really distracted with this, and you're a starting shortstop. And I was like, man, coach, I'm making some good money over here, and this is fun, and I'm developing. But yeah, I did it for a couple of years. Then I got into the training component of it. And then I really fell in love with mentorship and training and helping others. And while helping others, I was really helping myself, because I was developing my ability to coach entrepreneurship, which really instilled these skills at a higher level, because I didn't want to be a hypocritical coach. I wanted to, be the person that was paving the path and others were following in my leadership. I didn't want to, say one thing and then actually not act and behave in that way. And so you're never going to be able to lead anybody that is stronger than yourself. People want to follow people that are stronger than themselves. And that's the beautiful part of elevating yourself as a leader or a mentor. It forces you to elevate your skills to be able to lead people, stronger and stronger people as you grow.
Well, absolutely. And, in leadership and personal growth kind of walk hand in hand. And I've often said this, your leadership cap only rises as high as your personal growth allows you to. If you don't grow past your leadership, you're going to cap it off. So you always have to, your personal growth always has to be at a level of just beyond what your leadership growth is, because you have to have somewhere to go with it. Because as well as I do, that if you don't have those personal growth understanding, that awareness about you, is very difficult to lead other people. And because you don't know even how to lead yourself at times. And that is the most important person to learn to lead, is yourself, right?
If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead other people.
That's right. Exactly. And leading yourself is probably the most difficult thing to do, because it all starts right here between your 2 ears right here in your
Yeah.
brain, right? And we're going to get into a little bit about that, Joel, in just a few minutes, because I want to talk about mindset when we come back, because I know you're a expert at this, and I really want to talk about it and share with our audience what mindset is, how you determine mindset, how you move forward. But we're going to take a quick break first, and we'll talk about this mindset and how you develop mindset and maybe some of the framework that you have. So we'll be right back to the Leader's Edge. Are you ready to elevate your organization with a team of transformational leaders? Do you want to attract and nurture top talent while enhancing communication and productivity across generations? Hi, I'm Steve Steele, co-host of The Leader's Edge, and your coach with the Maxwell Leadership Team. My program equips leaders with essential skills and resources to lead, coach, and communicate effectively, ensuring everyone thrives. With tailored insights and proven strategies, I'm here to help your entire organization succeed. So reach out today at growthinleadership@gmail.com or visit johncmaxwellgroup.com/Steve Steele. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele, your host, with our guest today, our special guest today, Joel Puthoff. Jeff, wow. Thank you for that first segment. I really appreciate it. Kind of telling us a little about how you grew up and a little bit how you got started in entrepreneurship. But Jeff, as an entrepreneur, you're out there basically a lot of times alone, and you're learning this alone. And that you have to develop a mindset to move forward. Now, I want to talk a little bit about mindset, maybe a little neuroscience as we get into this next section, because you wrote a book. What's the name of your book again, Jeff?
Capability Fuel.
Yes, Capability Fuel. And I have not read that book, but it sounds fascinating. And I want to get a little bit of insight about the book as well. But tell us a little bit, Jeff, about mindset. How did you develop mindset? How do you do a framework with it?
Yeah, as I was training many entrepreneurs, young professionals, but also college students, how to start their first company, I saw many entrepreneurs get burnt out, and I saw many entrepreneurs fail. And I saw why they were mainly failing is they were giving up on themselves. They didn't have the right mindset. Things got hard, and they said, I don't want it to be this hard. I'm seeking comfort. And as humans, we are comfortable beings. We live in this consumerism world today where people, humans naturally, we seek this comfort. And some people's dreams and goals and purpose and what they want to accomplish for themselves are stronger than their weak mindset. And I think everybody has this, we're all born with this weak mindset. I have a different term for it, but it's a little aggressive. And then we also have this mindset that's we can develop that's like a warrior mindset. And so if you think of, we're all born with this comfort mindset, and then you've got to develop the warrior mindset to silence the comfort weak mindset. I think it's a process of developing yourself and going through, that gauntlet type to develop yourself. And for me, working with many entrepreneurs and CEOs, back to seeing them burn out, it's like, how do you keep going through? And I was training a bunch of business, and shout out to John Maxwell, Stephen Covey, and Napoleon Hill. I was studying all these management, leadership, business books in my 20s so that I could become the best coach that I could possibly be. But one thing I realized as I was, like 5 to 7 years into it, my health wasn't as good as it was. I was a little bit burnt out from all of it. And I'm like, I'm not even 30 years old yet, and I'm a little bit burnt out. Like, how do I keep going? This is an endurance sport. They talk about it being a marathon, not a sprint, as an entrepreneur.
Right.
And I really started to think about that concept longer. And I started to get pulled into these other organizations, some tech organizations, and they wanted me to help, grow their company, scale their company. So I was working directly with CEOs and still working with entrepreneurs, training them to run their business. And I started to realize, like, man, my coaching capabilities are a little bit flawed and not fully developed, because I don't even know, like, my education on gut health and brain performance and endurance sport and resilience, that's not even really developed yet. I'm just coaching people, management, leadership. You got to go, you got to go, you got to be a savage, go out there and build your business. But then I started to learn about, mental frameworks and mental health and gut health and how they're all connected. And I was like, wow. And so I went on this deep journey, understanding the body and understanding endurance athletes and CEOs that have paved very successful paths, and getting into more health coaching than in longevity compared to just business coaching, and maybe putting the business books down for a little bit. And the next 2 years, I studied like 75 to 80 books, and I was reading them, I was studying them, and I was learning how I was learning best. And then I started writing every day. And then I had all these notes. After 4 years, I had all these notes on all this information on human optimization. And I started putting it into work, into practice for myself and to other entrepreneurs that I was coaching. And I was like, man, what am I going to do with all this information? And I just said, I'm just going to keep writing every day. And slowly that turned into a framework for this book called Capability Fuel that I published in 2021. And it's like the hidden wisdoms plus modern science that fuel your prime capabilities. And I really wanted to pinpoint capabilities that individuals could develop throughout their life to unlock the full potential that lives within us. And I got really fascinated with human potential and how we can unlock capabilities and human optimization that lives within us, maybe dormant, but it's similar to the mental frameworks. You got to, and confidence, all these things, you got to develop muscles or habits to be able to evolve these skills. And so the prime capabilities that, I wrote about in my book were confidence, how to really build confidence for yourself, how to build adaptability, which is key because you get hit at all angles sometimes in business, and you got to be adaptable and you got to figure out how to navigate that path. Resilience, how do you, go hard and then go rest and regenerate and heal, and then get back up the next day and push it a little bit further, and then rest and heal and regenerate. How do you develop that resilient muscle when things aren't going well, and so that you can keep pushing more and more? And then capability 4 is focus, which I'm a little ADHD, which I think they made seem like is a bad thing and you should be woke up and drugged on. But I think it's a great asset to a human if you know how to use it. And so I was somebody that was very active, and your ADHD or whatever, I never even necessarily got diagnosed, but people kind of labeled me that, like it's a disease and it's a problem. But I was just somebody that was kind of hyperactive and highly energy, had a lot of energy because I was playing a lot of sports, and I work out pretty hard. And so focus was key to me. And I really wanted to learn that. I'm like, wow, that's something you can really develop, of how to have intense focus. And I learned that a little bit through my writing. And then the fifth capability is social and self-leadership, is how to lead yourself so that you can lead others in a social capacity. And those are the 5 capabilities that I wrote about in the book, and how to fuel those capabilities through the mind fuel, the body fuel, spirit fuel, and social fuel.
Joel, let's say you have an entrepreneur you're working with, and maybe they're in their business 3 or 4 years, and it's going pretty good. But they have a very difficult time making the next level. They might be doing $300,000 or $400,000 in their business, but they want to make that $500,000 to $1 million. But they've got this mindset, and they're actually stuck. And how do you help an entrepreneur become unstuck? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think it's a conversation I've been in at least 30 times. Help me get unstuck. Help me get unstuck. Or talking to people about how to help others get unstuck. And first of all, everybody's different. So my gut health is going to be a little different. Getting you unstuck compared to Johnny or Tommy or Sandra, everybody might be in a different situation. They might be dealing with something health-wise that's corrupting their ability to have the energy and resilience to keep going. It might be they have the wrong employees in their company, and those employees are, corrupting the business in a way, or I call it like a virus sometimes in your business. Like over the 1,000 employees and team members I've had at least 15, viruses or, pains in your business. So everybody's stuck is a little bit different. And I think the most important thing you got to do is you got to figure out, like, what is that bottleneck, first of all, that's keeping you stuck? Is it a mindset? Is it something in your business? Is it people in your life? Because sometimes the 5 people you hang around, you're not getting good advice, you're getting bad advice. So the stuckness is you don't have any good advisors and people in your life to help you see a optimal forward path forward. And I think that's what you do really well, Steve. From understanding your work, you really help people move forward past some of those things that get people stuck. And I think, so to answer your question, I think it's most important to understand what is keeping you stuck. And if you can figure out that, then it's a matter of, all right, how do we go on the offensive and figure out how to take the next step forward? So you got to develop a plan. And maybe this is where you can find 1 or 2 people in your life and find a great coach like you to help you understand what's the next step forward. Because all you have to do is take a step forward in your business or in your life or whatever objective you're trying to achieve. And once you take that step forward, typically a light shows you the next step. And it's typically, I just got to make a step forward. And if I can make a step forward out of the place that I'm at now and just take action, which sometimes people get like paralyzed and they don't take action, and then they're stuck in this like paralysis. It's really about, how do I figure out what a good next step forward is and take that step. And let's say you took the wrong step. Okay, figure out that wasn't the right step. What's the next right step? And reassess, take the next step. And sometimes I take the wrong step and I have to reassess and be like, all right, that was the wrong step. I'm still stuck. How do I take the next step? And if I keep taking action, I'm going to develop confidence in my ability to keep taking action. And eventually, it might take a week, it might take a month, but I'm going to get unstuck from the paralysis that's kind of keeping me in that position. So I think it's a combination of assessing the situation, figuring out what is the next step. Can you get others to help you figure out what that next step is to help you get unstuck? If you have those people, great. If not, try to figure it out. We now have AI and ChatGPT that can help you.
Sure can.
And then just take the step, like develop a plan. What am I going to do the next day? I have one of my favorite frames is remember tomorrow. And so what are you doing the night before to set yourself up for a great day the next day? And if an example might be like, hey, I need to figure out who to reach out to tomorrow to, I'm looking for an investor. Right now, we're currently we have a couple investors coming into our company, into Linksy. And if I was like, I need to find a new investor, but I'm stuck and I can't find any investors. Well, who are 10 investors that I could reach out to tomorrow? And if I choose to take action and reach out the next day, I'm going to start my day at 6 a.m. Remember tomorrow, get up early, refreshed. And for the first 2 hours, my only goal is to do the one thing that I have to do for my day, which is to reach out to 10 new people. And maybe all 10 of those don't do anything. And then the next day, I'm going to reach out to 10 new ones and then 10 new ones. And if you keep taking those actions, and ideally they're the right actions, but they're not always, and you just take action, you will find light, and then you'll be like, this is what I need to do. You will eventually get unstuck. And sometimes it only takes 24 hours. Sometimes it takes a week. Sometimes it takes a month, but you've just got to take the action. That's the biggest thing.
And I agree with that. And I think one of the things that, the people, I often say this in coaching because it's so true, that everybody wants a magic bullet, something, a magic trick or whatever it is to get them moving forward. But oftentimes I ask, could it be that the magic that you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding? And because people, it's like you said earlier, the brain, honestly, the brain doesn't, it's safety. It wants to always provide safety for us. It doesn't want to do anything else but just comfort and safety. That's basically, at least my brain works that way, and it doesn't want to do the work that's involved. And you have to really push yourself to do that work. Let's talk about that mindset about the brain a little bit. Let's kind of get into the neuroscience of it a little bit, Joel. I love the stuff that we've talked about in the past, a little bit about the neuroscience of how the brain works. I have this framework that I have, what I call powerful state and primal state of the mind. And your primal states are those states where you are stress, anxiety, overwhelm, all of those yuck stuff that you deal with. And then a powerful state of mind would be a mind that has got a lot of creativity, peace, calmness, joy. And honestly, we're more creative in a powerful state of mind than we are in a real primal state or a negative state. And the key is you can't be in both at the same time. You can only be in one. So how do we make that switch from being in a primal state of maybe overwhelmed, and there's a lot of anxiety in your life, you're stressed, to make it into a more powerful state where you can actually experience the joy, the curiosity, the creativity that we so need to operate in to make things work for us? How do we make that switch? How does a person flip the switch and do that?
Yeah, I think it comes down with taking full accountability that you have the capability to do so. You might not have the playbook yet. You might not know all the answers, but we are intelligently designed individuals. And where I was 10 years ago in my life to where I am now in terms of mindset and health and being able to be as resilient as I am today is completely different. But I've developed that and I've found the power. The power lives within all of us, and we have to choose that it's in us, and we're going to unlock it. Now, sometimes anxiety and all these other things, like some people might be dealing with hormones, like everybody's body's different. Yep. But you've got to find a way. I meditate, I pray every day. I wake up. My morning routine is the most important. How I start my day sets the tone. And so I wake up, now I have the luxury of having a cold plunge. Luxury, some people say like that sounds awful. Yeah. But to me, it's a luxury because it wakes me up and I face that right away. Are you going to get in this cold plunge? And you better believe it. 50% of the days, my brain is like, don't you dare.
Oh, don't do it.
But when I get out of that cold plunge, my body is like, boom, we've accomplished something hard to start the day. And I've already overcome the weak, comfortable safety brain, the primal brain. And I've already essentially elevated myself into this next level of brain. And I think I agree with you. You can't be in both. You can't be in primal and you can't be in abundant. And I think there's an abundance mindset and state that we can access, but we've got to choose that by doing hard things. And I forget what part of the brain it is, but there's a book called Dopamine Nation. And it's like, if we keep doing cheap dopamine, it's like, what happens after that? Like if you choose an easy life, you're going to have really hard. But if you choose a hard and you break through that comfortable safety primal brain, you actually open up and it kind of expands you and unlocks you this next level of you. And so I think it's a matter of, first, you got to calm the nervous system. If you do have anxiety, sometimes it's nervous system, sometimes it's getting your gut right. But the more you evolve your habits and habit stack in your lifestyle and optimize your health, the more energy and abundance and clarity that you're going to be able to obtain. And so I go cold plunge, I go water with electrolytes, lemon, then I go a little bit of red light therapy some days or sunlight, and then I get into meditation, and then I write. And my first hour of my day is like sacred because it's setting my path for my day, and it's getting my body in a state of homeostasis and abundance to be able to thrive in that day. And right now my life is very challenging. And if I didn't have the right habits and lifestyle and health, I wouldn't be able to push at the level I'm pushing. And I just had a very similar, just to like tie this up with the story that's relevant in my life right now. Yeah. I'm on a 4-week journey right now. And I've got presentations, I've got conferences, at these investor conferences, and I'm like networking, and it's not easy. It's like exhausting. I came home last night and I was exhausted. I'm like living in Airbnbs, and it's an intense travel. And my comfortable brain, even though I was planning the whole trip, is like, whoa, this is a lot. You're about to do this. You're not even going to be home for 4 weeks. This is intense. I'm going to miss my cold plunge. Oh my gosh, get out of your comfort zone. Yeah. And my brain started to like freak me out a little bit. And I'm like, silence. Shut up the comfortable brain, right? Be abundant and choose hard and go for it. Like pave your path and go. And you just got to do it. And then you've got to heal yourself, though. That's the key. We are intelligently designed. How are you treating yourself? Are you fueling yourself with optimal hydration and workouts and mindset and fasting? Like today, I've barely even eaten yet. It's about 1 o'clock here in Denver. And, how do you optimize your health? There's different things for everybody, but you've got to be very intentional every day with your health and your habits to be able to maximize the abundance that you can tap into.
Oh, I love that. And that is so true. For me, flipping that switch has a lot to do with gratitude as well, and having grateful for the things that I have in my life, because gratitude and thankfulness and appreciation really changes it for me, and it shifts me from that primal state of mind into a real powerful state of mind, and it flips back and forth. You can flip back and forth throughout the day. You just got to know how to choose, like you said, how to choose. And sometimes it's hard, but just to choose to be in that more powerful state of mind where you can move forward. It's always going to be a choice.
You nailed it with gratitude. And when hard things come at you, are you saying victim mindset or thank you for the challenge? Thank you for the hard.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Joel. I appreciate that. We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about mindset, but also we want to get into a little bit about your business, Linksy. So we'll be as soon as we return, we'll talk about that. We'll be right back to the Leader's Edge.
All right, podcasters, let's be honest for a second. If your show sounds like it was recorded inside of a tin can, in your cousin's basement, in a van down by the river with your dog barking in the background, it's time for an upgrade. That's where 216 Creator Studios comes in, the home of real production, real people who actually know what all those shiny buttons do. They've got pro mics, top-tier editing, and lighting that makes everyone look like they slept 8 hours, even if you didn't. Whether you're just starting out or you've been podcasting since people were still saying, smash that like button, give me a thumbs up. 216 Creator Studio helps you sound crisp, confident, and ready for the big leagues. So stop recording in your car, stop arguing with your USB mic, and get into 216 Creator Studios, where your podcast finally sounds as good as you think it does.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele with my special guest today, Jeff Puthoff. Jeff, thank you for that last segment. Yeah.
Joel.
Did I say Jeff?
That's all right. You switched it up a little bit.
I've been saying Jeff this whole show.
You've been saying it a little bit, but it's all right.
Oh my gosh, Joel, my apologies. Please forgive me. I don't know why.
That's all right. That's all right.
Joel, thank you, Joel. Thank you, Joel. Oh my gosh. Have I been calling you Jeff the whole time I've known you?
No, you've been saying Joel, but I think you got into Jeff in the second clip there. And
okay, my apologies.
Your mind a little bit.
My apologies, Joel.
I've been way worse.
Yeah. Well, you're very gracious and very kind. Thank you so much. We were talking about mindset before, and you mentioned something I thought was very interesting, was the fact that you got to know how to recover.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about that? What does that mean to recover? I mean, if you're in a mindset and you're working it and you're making those shifts, what does it mean to recover?
Man, it means a lot more to me today than it ever has. And it used to mean get some sleep, eat healthy, get a workout in. Now it's taken to a whole new light. And I even got into, deep studies of Yeshua or Jesus, and the kingdom of God is within. And I really do believe that, some of Jesus or Yeshua's teaching was telling us that we are intelligently designed beings. The kingdom of God is within. Heaven is a state of being. It could be a place that we go to after death.
Right.
But I think heaven and hell can live within all of us, and it's choosing what state we want to live in. And I think so. Healing we can go down many different ways with healing.
Oh, I love it.
But we're very intelligently designed. So what are you putting in your body? And in this world of, toxins in our food and in our water and, big pharma maybe, and, medicine, oversubscribed here in America a little bit. What are we doing to heal our body, optimize our body, and regenerate our body? Because I really do believe God made us to be able to regenerate and handle this chaotic world. Now we have screens and blue lights and all this chaos out here, maybe even sprayed skies. Who knows what's going on? But how do you heal in that environment? And a big part of it is your mental state. I really do think how people think creates the health of their state. And so I've gotten really deep into the science of the body. Let there be light. There's light energy within us. We have photons that run throughout our body and our fascia and our cells and our pineal gland. And we can detox from all these toxins. Our body can heal at a higher level, and it can withstand a little bit more. And if our mindset is trash and we live in this fear, shame, anger, guilt world, or trauma, because things happen to people and it captures them and it pulls them down. And if you think of all those things kind of be like inflammation in your body, well, those are like fear and shame and inflammation are all the same. They contract you and they make you small. But if you heal your body and you're expansive and you expand the literal light energy that lives within us, I think we can be expansive and we can build our energy field, our electromagnetic aura, our toroidal field, our energy. And people, everybody around the world, once you're out of energy, you're dead. How do you build your energy and manage and protect that energy? I think is the process of becoming the most abundant self.
I agree 100%. It's all about frequency, vibration, and really vibrating at a frequency at a much higher level, and having a high vibrational state, which is that, that powerful state of mind. I think that is so powerful. But you said something a minute ago. I want to tap your brain a little bit on this. I love this. We talked about the pineal gland, and the ancients called it the third eye. Talk to me about that, because that's maybe unfamiliar to some people, but it's a very, very real phenomenon within us.
Yes. By the way, all this is theory. I try not to get in too much trouble out here in the world.
Right.
But we have a pineal gland, and my beliefs of understanding the deep science of our pineal gland and our body is, I just did a podcast on this called The Human Jelly, and a 3-episode series, and I'll try to condense it into a minute here, but it's, hours of the recording. And we, like the jellyfish, have this piezoelectric light energy within our pineal gland, and our pineal gland in between our thalamus and our brain is where that consciousness center really lives, and it's connected to our heart at some capacity, and being able to detox it in this world of fluoride and all these other things, calcify your pineal gland, and really turn off your spiritual consciousness center, because it's hardened and calcified, kind of like a washed ashore jellyfish that gets crustacean and hardened, and it loses its vibrance and its light. But if we stay, cleansed and healed and detoxified and decalcified, we can magnify this crystal that lives within our brain, within our pineal gland. So if you think of your pineal gland as this soft crystal-like structure in our brain, it tells this prism light story of how do you magnify that. But if it's calcified and hard, you lose the radiance that a human can possess.
That is beautiful. I love the way you said there. And so, Joel, if a person has that, let's say the pineal gland is just there, it's hard, it's calcified, they don't really know it. How do they know it? And if it is, how do you open it up?
Well, you gotta stop drinking. I really do think fluoride was introduced into our water to control humanity at some level. I think a lot of toxins and pesticides and all these things are corrupting the intelligent design of the human. And that's why we have to detoxify. We have to cleanse. We have to be intentional about what we put into our body, because these things are corrupting that intelligence and our light system. And our pineal gland is that, and our fluoride is known to calcify that. And we have it in our toothpaste, and the teeth are a direct connection to our pineal gland, as well as what we have in our body. And so it might sound woo-woo and wild to some people, but I think there's a lot of science now they're coming out. The beautiful part of being in this internet age is so much information is coming out, and for the history of time, civilizations and kings have implemented things to get civilizations and people to behave in certain ways. And if they're not able to understand or critically think or have the consciousness and awareness to understand what's happening, then they're just walking, kind of like sheep or
it was kind of a way of controlling.
And there's a word I'm looking for. We're just like mummies walking around,
exactly.
zombies walking around in the world, almost not even understanding that we're being controlled. Our subconsciouses are being controlled by somebody else.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joel, for that. I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit because that's a fascinating study of the pineal gland and how that third eye works within our mind. Joel, let's jump to your business, Linksy.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about Linksy. What is Linksy? What do you do? How did you create it? What's it for? Who is it for? And how does it take place? Where do you go with it?
Yeah, it's experiential tech, so that we live in this world of screens and behind social media and AI and like what is real anymore. And everybody's getting comfortable at home, working remotely. And I saw this problem working with all these industries and working in the event industry. I saw all these event softwares failing to make optimal connections at events. And then I saw Pokemon Go come out and like location-based entertainment. And we all want experiences. We want shared experiences. We want to connect with humans. And the number one longevity tool in our lives that we haven't even talked about yet on the show is human connection.
Yeah.
If you have great human connection in your life, it's the number one thing that'll help you live a long, healthy life.
That's
right. Why my grandpa, he has 11 kids and 68 grandkids and 110 great grandkids. The guy's 93 and he looks like he's 75. He has so much love and connection in his life. He lives an abundant life. And I think in life, if we have an amazing connections in our life, we can live an optimal life. And I am so blessed with so much connection in my life. I see the way the technology world was corrupting us in some ways. And then the pandemic perpetuated it. And I stopped running my last business and I said, I have to go all in on this opportunity. I see the writing on the wall, and it's a huge opportunity to revolutionize how people experience spaces and events to make their best connections and to maximize the engagement. And the businesses need that as well. They're looking, how do we drive people back into our spaces, back into our events? People are way too comfortable behind their screens at home. And our big goal is to drive people back into public spaces, to have shared experiences, to make connections. And we developed this software, Linksy or Linksy Live in the App Store, that helps people find the action in their city or while they're traveling and find events that align with their interests. And so if you're into tech and startups and mindset or whatever it might be, you can look at the app and you can find events and locations in your city where people are gathering aligned with your interests. And you can be like, oh my gosh, I don't even need to call my good buddy Steve to go to this place. I'm just going to go and I'm going to meet new people aligned with my interests. And so the whole goal of Linksy is a social impact goal of bringing people back together, because together we are stronger. And the world is really good about pinning us on religion or race or politics. They love to divide us. And I actually think it's the number one way that they get control over human beings is dividing us and making us fight against each other, judge each other, do all these different things, making us compete against each other. And then it's like our neighbor is the enemy compared to humanity together. The 99% is way stronger than the 1%, but somehow, some way, this 1% finds a way to kind of control humanity and pin us against each other. And Linksy is going to bring us all together and help you see each other in a different color light. So we developed this color connecting system, and the whole idea is using tech to lose tech. So we're just the bridge back into public spaces. And when you go to an event of 500 people, maybe there's 10 to 15 people you're supposed to connect to. And Linksy's job is to make sure that you make those 10 to 15 connections at every event that you go to based off the interactions and connections that you seek to make.
Joe, how do they download the app if they want it?
Yeah, go to any app store, Linksy Live. We're in all app stores, and we do events all around the country. We're a little bit, we haven't really, encompassed North America here yet completely, but or America in general. And but we're
a relatively new adventure. I mean, it's not. Yeah,
we're 13 months old, and
we've
got events all over. That's why I'm on this wild 4-week journey right now. And we just got a big opportunity with Harvard University, and then we're doing a huge event in Paris, and I'm going to be out in San Francisco next week for a huge event. And so we're getting so many amazing events, and everybody's trying to figure out the same thing. These event organizers are trying to figure out the same thing, is how do we maximize the engagement and the connection experience for our attendees? And we've invented something so unique that nobody's built before. And so we're so excited to like bring it to the world, and we're having a lot of fun with it.
That is amazing. And I love the fact that it brings connection to people.
In real life,
not online. That's right.
In real Linksy.
Yeah, in real Linksy live. So it's like you're there and you actually make these personal connections with people. I absolutely love that. Love that. Joel, thank you so much for today. Thank you for sharing all the things that you shared about mindset and about your how you grew up, entrepreneurship, all those amazing pieces. You're just a man full of knowledge and wealth as far as the body and how it works. And I just really appreciate that. And as leaders, we need to know that kind of thing because we need to take care of ourselves, right? Thank you so much, Joel. I appreciate it so much. Next week on The Leader's Edge, we'll have a different type of episode. We're going to be introducing Dr. Natasha Menken as she reveals the hidden complexities of hormonal health and the limitations of really standard blood tests. I have to admit, I don't know a whole lot about this subject, and I'm going to be learning a lot on this episode as well. So tune in for insights that can really transform your understanding of wellness and empower your leadership journey. And just as a reminder, you can find The Leader's Edge on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you find value in these conversations or in these episodes, please hit the subscribe button or follow to stay connected. I want to say thank you to all of our listeners and friends, because without you, The Leader's Edge would not be possible. I'm so grateful to have you here, and I'm so excited to connect with you next time. See you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.